Hi everyone, I've got another miniature here for you now with Viktor Korchnoi against Robert Hubner. It was played in Johannesburg in 1981 and features some brilliant play from Korchnoi. So we'll get into the game now. It started off with d4, Korchnoi was white, and then knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, b6. So going into a Queen's Indian defense. And knight c3 could have transposed into a Nimzo Indian, but Hubner didn't go for that and played bishop b7. Then came bishop f4. Bishop e7, queen c2, and knight h5, which is just trying to hassle this bishop a bit, but it's not very effective really. I guess bishop d2 can be played, and the knight's gonna lose some tempo here. After d5, c takes d5, e takes d5, g3, black castled, bishop g2, and knight f6. And this knight's moved 3 times now to get to a square that it will usually get to once, so Hubner's effectively lost 2 moves. Instead of this position, he could also have played here c5 and knight b7 or knight c6 and be able to contest the centre squares more effectively than he does in the game. Korchnoi exploits this well. First he castles, and then Hubner played rook e8, which looks like a logical move. It's coming to the open file, and it just seems like a kind of the right move for the position, but it weakens f7. And that's a kind of a big drawback to the move, and you'll see how that plays a big part in the game as the game continues. A better chance at equality here with c5, and after rook a d1, knight on b to d7, and it's pretty much equal. So anyway, after rook e8 came knight e5, the knight had a strong central square, and after a6, queen b3. You notice here that the queen is lining up on f7 in conjunction with this knight here, so if this pawn was to ever fall, then there'll be some tactical threats. So then came knight on b to d7. There's another possibility here with just c5 and d takes c5, bishop takes c5, knight d3. But this favours white as well really. Black's left with an isolated d pawn, there's lots of pressure on it, and it's probably going to fall. So knight on b to d7 was fine. Then came rook a d1, b5, and here Korchnoi played knight takes d5, which is the beginning of a brilliant combination. Another strong move here would have been bishop f4, where the pressure is mounting on this pawn now, where it's being attacked 3 times and it's only defended twice. And any continuation to try and save that pawn, say for example c6, after e4, attacking it again, and knight f8. There's knight takes c6, bishop takes c6, e takes d5, bishop b7, d6 is a very strong move. The bishop takes g2, d takes e7, rook takes e7, king takes g2. White's won a pawn here, and black has very little compensation for it. Another thing I just want to show you quickly in this situation, after bishop to f4, another possibility to defend this pawn is playing knight f8, so the queen is defending it. But this runs into the tactical vulnerabilities on the f7 square. For example, e4, knight e6, and e takes d5, knight takes f4, and then d6 would be very strong, even after knight takes g2. The threats on f7 are too much. After knight takes f7, the queen will have to move, say goes to c8, then knight h6, double check from the queen and the knight, and king h8 is the only move. If it goes to f8, then it's mate. So king h8 and then queen g8 check, rook takes g8, and then knight to f7 is mate. And it's the same if the knight recaptures the other knight here. So that's a kind of latent tactical threat that's in the position here, and causes Hubner all kinds of problems throughout the game. But anyway, Korchnoi played knight takes d5, and after knight takes d5 came bishop a5, which is a strong move and has a couple of ideas in mind. You see here that it opens the d file. If Korchnoi had just recaptured here, after bishop takes d5, bishop takes d5, queen takes d5, knight takes e5, and the best continuation is queen takes d8, bishop takes d8, d takes e5, rook takes e5, and it would be completely equal. Whereas, after he's played bishop a5, if Hubner does nothing about it now, like say for example, if he just plays h6, then bishop takes d5 is much stronger because of the bishop move. After bishop takes d5, queen takes d5, knight takes e5. Korchnoi would have been able to play d takes e5, and so he's a pawn up, and he's got much better position. If the queen captures here, then the rook recaptures, and the other rook can come to double on the d file, and it's a much better position for him. So bishop a5 had, first of all, that idea in mind, but secondly, to stop the pawn coming to c6 to defend this knight, because Korchnoi is temporarily a piece down here, and he doesn't recapture straight away because he sees that there's more in the position. And by playing bishop a5, it forces Hubner to make a decision about how to defend this knight. And what he played was knight 7 f6, because he's going to be thinking, well, I'm a piece up here, I should try and hold on to the material. But that wasn't the right way to go about it. A better try would have been knight 7 b6, but even that favours white as well. After bishop takes b6, c takes b6, and e4, bishop f6. This knight can't move, remember, because of those threats on the f7 square. E takes d5, queen d6, and knight c6. This would favour white. Perhaps the best defence after bishop a5 was playing bishop f6 with threats on e5 here. But after f4, knight 7 b6, bishop takes b6, c takes b6, e4, queen d6, e takes d5, rook a d8, knight c6, bishop takes c6, d takes c6, bishop takes d4 check, king h1. Again, white's better here because he has a passed pawn, and these pawns for black are doubled. So that favours white as well, but it's not as bad for black as the game continuation, which was knight 7 f6, because then came e4 and rook c8. Hubner was anticipating Korchnoi's plan with his next move after rook c1 of just adding pressure to the c file. And here Hubner blundered, really. He panicked and played knight takes e4, which is just trying to return some of the material in order to stave off the white attack. And he figures he's a piece up, so if he swaps a piece now, he can, he's getting a pawn for it, so he should in theory end up a pawn ahead, but it's the wrong time to offer some material back in order to stop the attack, because after bishop takes e4 he's worse. A better chance of defending, instead of knight takes e4, was bishop d6, and after e takes d5, bishop takes e5, d takes e5, rook takes e5, bishop h3 is strong because it attacks this rook, and if the rook were to move, say for example to b8, then bishop takes c7 is strong, pinning all of black's heavy pieces. So it's not good for the rook to move. So after bishop h3, say rook h5, and then bishop takes c8, queen takes c8, f3, just stopping the knight coming down with threats. Bishop takes d5, queen c2, c6, rook c1, and again white is better here. So anyway, the game continued. Knight takes e4, bishop takes e4, and g6 really has to be played to stop the bishop coming here, threatening the rook, forcing it to move, and having a continuation similar to the one I just showed you. And Korchnoi then played the brilliant rook c6, which is an unexpected and the best move in the position easily, because now this knight is attacked twice, and it has to move, and the threats on f7 will be uncovered. And if bishop takes c6, then knight takes c6 is very strong. The queen has to move, and after queen d6, bishop takes d5. Korchnoi's got two minor pieces for a rook, and retains the threats on f7. So say queen f6, then knight e5, more threats on f7, rook f8, knight d7 wins the exchange. After queen takes d4, knight takes f8, rook takes f8, bishop takes c7, and white finishes up a full bishop ahead. So a great move from Korchnoi, rook c6. It's much better than moving the knight to c6 because the pressure stays on f7 this way. Hubner tried knight f6, but now his position is completely collapsing with knight takes f7, and after queen takes d4, knight to g5, check from the queen, king h8, and bishop c3. Hubner resigned because there's nothing he can do to stop the threats of the position. Fritz recommends just taking the bishop here, which is crazy and bound to lose the game. If he tries to hold on to his queen, say for example queen d8, then Korchnoi would attack queen f7, which is just it's game over. It's mate in 3. So a brilliant game from Korchnoi that really shows it's not always best to immediately take back the material when one of your pieces is taken. Sometimes it's better to see beyond the initial instinct just to recapture immediately and get your material back. And yeah, just a brilliant tactical game from Korchnoi. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please leave any comments or thoughts. Thanks very much.